This is my plant. His name is Steve Harrington, and he has a brother named John Raffio. He's dying. I also just found a bobby pin inside the pin. This is my plant. Hello, welcome back to my channel. I am doing a slightly new setup in here, so I'm aware it kind of looks like a hostage terrorist situation going on. We're working on a better backdrop to make it look less sketchy. But it's also very hot. It's very hot in here. Ugh, these lights. But today I'm going to be talking about something I have never... Well, I'm talking about something that I was never supposed to talk about to anyone. I may have told a few people, but pretty much no one else knows this, besides my best friends and my family. I auditioned for The Voice, and today I kind of want to talk about the audition process. They actually advise you or tell you that you're not supposed to talk about it, but we're doing it anyway. Without further ado, let's go right into the video. It started out in end of May. I got an email from one of the casting producers at NBC, their casting department basically. They said, hey, we saw some of your music, we want you to come in and audition, basically. We'd love it, have you come audition. So I was stoked. I was a little iffy about it in the first place because all of their locations were pretty far away from me. I live in literally like Montana, and there's never any auditions of any kind that ever happen here. So I knew I would have had to drive elsewhere. Anyway, I said yes because I just decided I wanted to go for it and kind of see what would happen. So yeah, in June, I messaged them back and I'm like, yes, I'm definitely interested. Let me know what I'm supposed to do, where I'm supposed to go. And the lady wrote back and said, hey, does Seattle work for you in 3 weeks? So I had 3 weeks to prepare my audition, and I had no idea what I was gonna sing. Like, they want you to do covers primarily, which if anyone follows my music, I don't do covers. I do pretty much all originals. So anyway, I was preparing. I went through a lot of different song ideas. I thought about doing like some Harry Styles songs, Livy and Rose. I thought about doing that one, but I decided on Hold On We're Going Home by Drake, an original, which I just decided I was going to do it anyway, and Toxic by Britney Spears, and then Trouble by Halsey. So those were my 4 songs. They told you to bring 4 songs and make 2 of them upbeat at least, and at least 1 of them to a track. So me and my mom get in my car, drive over to Seattle. I had like 2 days to do this because I had 2 days off from work. So we drove, literally, I got off work, we drove all day to get to Seattle, got there the night before the audition. My audition was the next day at 1 o'clock, and so I pretty much had that much time to prepare, just practice and stuff, because I'd been working that entire week leading up to it. So I didn't know what to expect going into the audition. I had looked up YouTube videos on this entire process, and I guess there weren't that many videos on this because you're really not supposed to talk about it, but like what are they gonna do to me? Because I don't think I signed any waivers. Who knows? Hopefully they don't sue. But I got to the audition studio. It was at like a recording studio. It was a big house in Shoreline. I get there and there is just like a check-in place where they like check your bags, like a little table, not like a huge thing, where one guy was sitting there, and then you moved on to a different station, a different table that you actually check in with NBC, like casting people. And then you have a whole bunch of couches that a whole bunch of pretty much teenage girls are just sitting on and waiting for their audition. I think I saw maybe 3 guys there, and the rest were like teenage girls. So I sat there. My audition was supposed to be at 1, yeah, I think 1:30ish. I think I ended up actually auditioning at 2:30. So it was a long process, and like I've heard stories that you have to wait so long at the open call auditions. So it really wasn't as bad as that. but it did take quite a bit of time. But basically you sat upstairs until they called your name, and then you went down into the holding area, which in my case was a basement, which seemed a little sketchy. And so I went down there. I had to wait maybe like 10 minutes, and then they finally called my name. I went in there. It was a beautiful recording studio. They had like, they said that they were having like a stage, but it was just like a stage area with a microphone and like a cute little backdrop. It wasn't like intimidating. They also said I've heard a lot of people say that there was a lot of people in the room when they were auditioning. That wasn't the case for me. I had maybe 4 people in there. We had the producer, one of their casting producers actually in the room, and then we had a camera lady, and then we had like the people that were running sound. So there were not a lot of people there. So it wasn't too nerve-wracking. It was just a weird experience because I didn't really know what to expect because no one really is allowed to talk about it. So I didn't really know what to expect, and I think every venue is different. And so that was kind of a problem because I was looking at all these YouTube videos and every venue's different. So this is all from my experience. It could be different. One of you guys are like looking into maybe going to one of these auditions, because basically the email I got was that I could skip the open auditions and go straight to the callback audition, or like a private audition. So they were having some technical difficulties with the sound, so I had to switch my guitar at last minute, which was kind of hard because I played someone else's guitar. I played my first song, which was my original, and I was kind of expecting, you know, like oh thanks, like we'll let you know. And then I just kind of was standing there, and they're like, well, that's really great, do you have another song? And then I sang my Halsey song, which was more of like a ballad, I guess. And they were like, well, that's awesome, can we hear one more song that's more upbeat? And then I sang Toxic by Britney Spears, but the problem was they didn't want me to play it on guitar, and I hadn't prepared a track. So I had to sing karaoke basically off of YouTube. So they were really understanding about that because I didn't really know when to come in or like really anything. I didn't know the words, so that was good. So I was like, I finished my song, or almost finished my song, and the guy was like, well, congratulations, you did great today, we're gonna move you on to the next round, which I was literally not prepared for. I didn't think I was gonna get through, just because there's so many people that day. So he's like, yeah, we're gonna move you through. It's time to go upstairs for your interview. And this is where I didn't realize, I wasn't prepared for this at all, because I hadn't heard about this on any of the audition, like, review things, I guess, on YouTube that I had watched prior. So basically, if you go through, you have a interview, like a TV interview that day. Okay. I can do YouTube videos because if I say something dumb, I edit it out. Bruh. I can't do the going on TV, you don't know what you're gonna say, you don't know what they're gonna keep. They asked, so basically what the interview was is you went upstairs, kind of went into this room. It was like actually the sound booth room, and they had like a little area set up with like all the lights and like the camera, and you had this guy that was asking you questions. He asked me about my family, asked me about my tattoos, asked me about what I did for my 21st birthday, just like really random questions. And then he asked me to reenact a scene from my favorite movie, and I blanked. I couldn't even remember my favorite movie. So I threw out some, like, it is one of my favorites. I said You've Got Mail, but I couldn't remember any quotes at all. There was just, my mind went absolutely blank, and I actually made something up, which I almost was hoping I wouldn't get in to The Voice, just because I never wanted that entire interview to surface ever. So yeah, that happened. And then the interview guy was really nice, but he like was halfway paying attention. He was literally texting on his phone while he was asking questions. So basically after the interview, I went out to the main lobby, living room, seating area. There was a girl there, handed me a piece of paper basically going over what was going to happen next, and like the guidelines is like, you can't tell anyone, don't even tell your family, if you have any questions email this thing, blah blah blah, you know the deal. And then my day was done. That was my entire experience. I think altogether it took me, I got there pretty early, so I think it was like 3 hours. It really wasn't that bad. It was just really hot that entire time. I also sweat profusely when I'm nervous, so that didn't help too much. There are a couple things that are just my opinion that I would like to go over, because the process of auditioning is actually very different than I think a lot of people think. I think a lot of people think it's open casting call, then blind auditions. It is not. It is open casting call, which I thankfully got to skip due to them emailing me asking for a private audition. Open casting call, callback, or private audition after the casting producers basically go on their tour during the summer. They look over all the tapes of the different auditions that they have seen, and then they go back through, they pick their top favorites, they contact you for an executive network audition, basically where you're in front of the executives of NBC, and then if they like you, if the network likes you, then you're on to the blind auditions. So there's just a couple things that I think people forget when they're auditioning that I would say to someone who's thinking about auditioning for The Voice and doesn't really know what it looks like. One, it is a reality TV show. They are looking for people that fit a certain stereotype, and they're looking for very diverse people, but they want them to fit into a certain stereotype. So you always have like that indie girl or the country guy or country girl or whatever. They are wanting to fit you into a box because that's really, really marketable. So they want you to be a person that either is very polished in what they bring to the table as far as their marketing and their brand, or you're very moldable into something that they want you to be. So you just have to remember that you are auditioning for a reality TV show. And I remembered that, and I realized that when I did that interview, is that, wow, this is for TV. They're wanting to see the type of person I am, not so much to know that I can sing, because once you're on the show, it's a singing competition. But in the beginning processes, it's all reality TV show. You are performing in front of casting producers. They're making sure that you're going to be marketable or you're going to be entertaining for their show. And so that was something that I just wasn't well prepared for. I think overall the experience was pretty positive. Everyone was really sweet, and like especially the people I was auditioning with, they really, asked questions, and we had conversations about just music and our lives and whatnot. But I think if you are looking to audition for any type of show, I can't speak so much for exactly what the other shows are like, but I would say that they're probably all similar in that they are reality TV. And so you do have to be a certain brand, a certain market, or someone who is able to perform and entertain in a certain way. And I think basically you have to be a performer because an artist won't cut it. That is unfortunately, that's the truth. I think overall those singing competitions are really fun. I had a really positive experience. So I hope you guys kind of enjoyed my story time and telling my secrets about my audition for The Voice. And if anyone is out there auditioning or thinking about auditioning, go for it, because it's actually a really fun experience, and you never know, because you might be that person that they feel like they can market, or you already have a very, very set brand. But I don't think I did. If you guys have any more questions about my experience on The Voice, or any questions about my music, or really anything in my life, I'm pretty much an open book. But you guys can comment below, and I will see you guys later.